Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new The Bridge Debates. The Bridge Debates is a free activity promoted by Isaac. Today, we are going to discuss a very important debate, a very important subject. Debating existential program, what we technically generally call of Proexis. And for this reason, we have invited two researchers in this area, two specialists from APEX, the dedicated consensus-centric institution that deals with this subspecialty of conscientiology. So my colleague Adina is going to introduce them to you.
Good afternoon, good evening, hello everyone, bună seara tuturor. Let me also welcome you to a new debate about a very important topic for each of us. And yes, Liliana and I are today the guests of this, the hosts, of this debate. We are volunteer at Isaac. Isaac is the Interassistential Services for the Internationalization of Conscientiology, is a non-profit organization run by volunteers meant to promote the internationalization of conscientiology and to support other conscientiological institutions to expand their interassistential efforts. And it is our pleasure today, as Liliana said before, to talk about this topic with two specialists in proexiology, Helen Matos.
Hi.
And Caio, Polizel. Thank you for being here. Hello, you are welcome, and we appreciate your presence here. Let me introduce our guest. Helen Matos is an archaeologist and a social media specialist. She's a teacher and a volunteer at APEX, the conscientious-centric institution specialized in the research of existential program. She is a task resumer and a penta practitioner. Caio Polizel is an administrator, a specialist in organizational psychology, graduate of the Methodist University of Sao Paulo, with an MBA in People Management. He is a volunteer at the International Association of Existential Programming, APEX, member of the Collegiate of Conscientiology, whose manager he was from 2011 and 2016. He is a conscientiology professor, penta practitioner since 2003, and Epicon since 2019. Thank you again for being here, and let's start our debate. And how else could we do it if not asking you about Proexis, about what is Proexis? Many people feel that they have a goal to attain in their life, and this is a subject that we could find in different areas of spiritual areas, psychology, for instance. And I'd like to start asking you, what is Proexis from the conscientiological point of view, and what conscientiology brings new, special, and different? And we will start. Okay.
Helen would like to answer, start the
sure.
answer, and we can talk together.
Okay. Yes. Well, the existential program is, as you said before, it's based on we start thinking about questions that humanity has always asked itself. So we always ask ourselves, who am I? Why do I exist? What is the purpose of my life? What is my place in the world? What will be my destiny? We've been asking these questions forever, for decades, for even a millennia.
Yeah.
So um, when we talk about the existential program itself, because here we're talking about the life purpose, we're talking about the purpose of life. When we talk about the existential program, we are including there some aspects that can be related to our multiple dimensions, our past lives. So, in conscienciology, what we understand about the existential program is something that we plan before we are reborn in this life, in this human life. And the reason we plan the existential program before we are born is to accelerate our evolution. Is that we can learn from our mistakes from the past, and then we can be more assistential and help others. And by helping others, we accelerate our own evolution.
Let me know when should I change?
Oh, you can change, yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, what I just said is here in this slide. In conscienciology, we understand that this goal or greater purpose of life corresponds to the concept of the existential program and or proexis. We call proexis because it's the in Portuguese. We got the first three letters of one word and the first three letters of the second word, and then we came up with this neologism, a new word, and it involves a multidimensional planning, exactly because what I said before. We are planning our own existence in this human dimension before we are born.
Should I go on, right? Okay.
So the definition that we have from the Proexis manual, which is a book by Dr. Valdo Vieira, he was a researcher and a doctor, and he is the one that proposed conscienciology in the first place. So his definition for this is the personal proexis or existential program is the specific existential program of each intraphysical consciousness or conscience, which is the human personality, us that are here in this dimension, in their new life in this human dimension that is planned before the somatic physical rebirth of consciousness, while still an extraphysical consciousness or conscience. You can go ahead. So we have here selected the major goals and strategies that we have when we are planning our existential program. So one of them is the evolutionary that I said before. We prepare this existential program in order to evolve, and also that we can help others evolve as well. The proexis is always meaningful. It is not just something that is out of place or something that comes up in, when we are already here. It has a meaning and it's exclusive. My proexis is not yours. Your proexis is not mine. I have my own personal proexis. We can actually have the maxi proexis. We will talk a little bit about that in a little bit. But the maxi proexis involves the group proexis. But my personal proexis is exclusive. It's mine, non-transferable as well, and is multidimensional. So it includes all my parapsychic aspects of my personality, my own past experiences. It involves all the consciousnesses that are involved in my group karma. We are going to talk about a little bit about it in a little bit as well. And it's also interexistential. And interexistentiality is more known as solidarity or compassion. So my proexis will always involve helping others, helping the planet, helping others to evolve as well. Cosmoethical, it is beyond human ethics and plan prior to interphysical rebirth. You can go ahead. I think it's the last
It's
one.
the last one, yeah.
So we can start debating. It was just so we can have a visual aid.
Yeah, before starting the debate, yeah, we already have a lot of people that participate in our live. People from Romania, but not only, from Brazil as well, right?
Selena, oh, remember her from the Existential Balance?
Yeah. Okay. And yes, also, yeah, people who participate in the Romanian event. Okay. Oops. Alina, Ioana, a lot. Leonardo,
Hi, Leonardo.
Cecilia, Daniela, Renato. Hi. Oops. Hi from France. We're
Wow.
here. Yes. We're from London. Look, the
Oh,
entire Europe.
Larissa.
Yes, and not only in
Hey,
Brazil.
we have someone from
Also,
my
Someone.
city.
yes.
Patricia.
And from
Patricia.
A lot of
Brazil,
We're here
friends
at
and a lot of
Skype
people
with
that are going.
Mario. Okay. Maria from Romania.
from Romania.
Hi,
Mario
Maria.
Luna. Hi from Foz. And and
And Adriana.
here.
Maria.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, from
Welcome,
Hello,
guys. Welcome.
and
welcome.
thank you. Oops, and thank you for being here with us. Okay.
From the people from Romania, I want to say that the days in Romania were very full of learning and a great opportunity, intra and extraphysical, to exchange ideas with very interesting people. It was a great pleasure to have visited Romania, and I invite all of that
Oh,
never,
that didn't come, right?
yeah, that never came to Romania to visit it, because the Romania, and I have opportunity to meet some very special Romanians that were impacted to my life, and I think we are only beginning a big job. So we need to be connected and talk to Proexis, as you asked us, and as Helen told us. It's interesting because we will understand that we are all connected to do a big job. So let's talk a little more about this, because I think it will be really nice to this conversation today.
And let's do the job.
Let's
Yeah.
do it. Can we? Yeah, I cannot continue without. Yeah, I thank you very much, because, well, for your nice words and for your important work that was done here in Romania. It was a great opportunity for us, and indeed, let's go together. Let's go on together. It's
Yes.
yeah. It is in our existential program. It's obvious, right?
Yes, for sure.
And yeah, let's continue. if you could you could you say a little could you talk a little bit about the connection between the existential program and the intermissive course?
Yes, for sure, for sure. Well, basically, I'm going to start here, Helen, and feel free to complete the information. Using the reality of conscientiology as a basis, and technically, we can say, only those who participate in an intermissive course have as a proexis. So we need to understand this. If I participate on an intermissive course, we probably have a proexis. So, and we can say that there are people who cannot say that admit multidimensionality and who have we can call as a sense of proexis. We cannot admit that they had they did an intermissive course or they admit multidimensionality, but they knows that has something to do, and we can call like a sense of proexis or a proto-proexis, like a prototype of existential program. They certainly has very important things to do, and they knows that the existential things that they need to do, it's important. So they have a prototype or something like that, but we can't say that this is a proexis. I don't know if it will completely understood, but sometimes someone asks, oh, and someone who did many things to to people, and they have a proexis or no. So if we use these specific things to think that we connect to the multidimensionality, and they admit this is important to start the conversation. So this is the first one reflection. I don't know, Ellen, if you would like to complete.
Yes, yes. We can make a distinction between life purpose or purpose of life and the proexis itself. So a lot of people have a life purpose and a valuable one. They contribute a lot, even to the evolution of the planet, of other people. But the proexis itself has certain ingredients from the intermissive course that include multidimensionality, include what we learned from more evolved consciousnesses like the Serenissimus, like evolutionologists. They are consciousness that if we are not totally open for the information they have to bring to us, we cannot connect and we cannot learn from them and bring those uh, learning lessons to the intraphysical dimension, to the human dimension. So when we are born or reborn, we bring what we call in proexology our innate ideas, which is exactly what we bring from the intermissive course. So we go to we are invited first. We have the chance to say, yes, I would like to go, or nah, not now. So some people don't want to. They are very compassionate people. They may be very intelligent. They may be innovative. They may create things that will help humanity. But if they may say, no, it's not for me right now. I'd rather stay where I am. But for us that actually said yes, we learn things that in conscientiology will actually be able to help us remember our intermissive course, which are classes. And what we do here right now in the human dimension, we can say that are probably a copy, a recreation of what we did when we were in intermissive course, of course, in a very small scale.
Yes,
Can I
and
just add
as a
something
dean,
after?
yes, for sure, Liliana, go ahead.
I had for many years before being able to connect with conscientiology, I had this feeling that I had a life mission, not life purpose. Life purpose, as
Life
been
mission.
explained, is different. But I had the idea that I had a very important life mission. I just didn't remember what it was. But I had a lot of manifestations that later I understood that they were parapsychic, but I didn't have names for them until actually I started, my classes of conscientiology and started putting names to the phenomena and understanding better little by little. Oh, though that goes with that. This is because of this, and starting to put things together, so to speak. To
Yes,
understand that I had
as Adina said, we have many philosophical, theological, and psychological models that tell us some information connected to this, as Helen said, to the purpose, the life purpose. But when we understand that there is so many lives that I had before that impact nowadays, that we started to reflect about this life during the intensive course and think which is better, which country will be better to born, which family, the connection between this, and which is the most important things to do. We start on another level of reflection. Not we are not saying that we are the most important thing, and this information is the most important. But when we reflect about our past lives and reflect about what could be the most important things to do nowadays and to impact many consciousness, to help and to be an assistant to people that we probably make some impact in the past, and nowadays we can solve some problems. This is the connection, and it will start on on another level of evolution for me. But don't believe in this.
Yeah.
Reflect
believe in
about it.
anything.
And to complement what you both said, uh, in the intermissive course, we are studying to apply here our knowledge in a technical way, in a scientific way, and moving away as much as possible, as much as we can, from dogmas, from religion, from uh, believing in things, and more experiencing ourselves and learning more about ourselves and being able to to help others learn more about themselves and move on and evolve a little bit more.
And this thing of leaving belief by we can now experience, we are mature enough to experience by ourselves and start understanding things in a different level.
Yes, yes.
And the conscious projection, one of the our parapsychic phenomena that we experience, right? The conscious projection or the out of body experience. If you're a first timer here, this is the one of the most important ingredients in our existential program, because we can actually verify a lot of the things that we remember with classes and with these debates and lives and everything that we are reading, all the books, our treatises that we read, we can verify in the extra physical dimension. And we don't need to die in order to do that. We can do it while we are still here.
Yes,
Yeah.
you are correct, because when we are talking about this, it's a part of the reflection. But after a person, when he or she start a lucid projection and remember some parts of this, it won't be. It's impossible to don't
Forget.
change their mind and
I had
reflect
like
on
two or three
another.
projections like that, and it's
Yes,
unforgettable. Of course,
yes, it's
projections to the
you
intimacy, of
will
course,
be.
right?
Yeah, yes, you will be another person, because
Yeah.
this impact you. You will reflect and, oh, I've never had and I've never thought about this, and I perceive some conditions that is not possible to normally is not possible to feel this during the interphysical situation. But
Yes.
when we start a projection, uh, we will achieve another level of reflection and condition to understand our proexis. You are really correct.
Beyond retrocognitions and retrocognitive lucid projections, uh, what are the elements that we can use in our daily life to help us to identify our praxis? Because as Professor Vieira says, nobody comes with the praxis in the pocket. It would be I don't know, but we don't come. Yeah.
Yes, if we come with this
With this in
praxis
the
in
pocket is
our
too much
pocket,
for
I
me,
don't know.
probably.
I don't know if it will be really nice, because sometimes we will open a page and know what it will
That?
happen. I can't understand. I don't want this. But Vieira has into his book, Manual of Proexis, and he said that the identification of the individual proexis can be done through two formulas. And he says, when we analyze our traits and when we analyze our personal retribution. When we understand about this, we will receive some information about our proex. Why we received so many things during this life? Why we had an important father or mother or grandfather that gave us some information? Why we found a friend that gave us a book and this book changed our perspective? Why we receive so many things and what we retribute with this? We receive and talk about the
What you give
retribution.
back, right? The way we
Yeah,
give
what
back
we give
to the
back,
society, even.
for sure. So if we stop and get a paper and list in this paper our traits, our strong traits, our weak traits, we will understand a little more why we receive these strong traits. Why? It's not because our eye color, but we need to do something with this. We receive this to do something. So if we start only by this, reflect about the traits, we will receive some information. But we
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
improve, we can go deep with this. But I'm gonna share to Ellen, Liliana to complete, and after
I
we can
just
talk a
like
little
to,
more.
it's not like these traits we are talking about, that they are not gifts given by any other one. It's characteristics, traits of us that we have been developing for many lifetimes. And the strong traits are those that are already mature, that are really good, that we can use for our interassistance, as we say. And the weak traits is the things that we are not yet mature dealing with. So we're still working on that in current lifetime and things.
Yeah.
Yes. And here I would you like to say something, Ellen?
Oh, yes, I was going to compliment what you said. Um, when it is, and this is why it's so important when we are studying and we are bringing forth the science, the self research element. Because when we are developing our traits, we are able to actually even identify our mega strong trait. And most of our proexis is based on our mega strong trait. And that will also help us identify our interexistential identity, which is so important because by identifying your interexistential identity, you can understand what is the problem that you wanted to solve when you were born. What are the solutions you can use in order to solve those problems? And those are essential ingredients in the identification of the proexis. And it's actually even one of the classes, one of the modules that we have in our proexis cycle class. It's a course with 8 modules. Just it's all about proexis, all the stages, all the questions, the big questions, major questions that we have about the existential program are in this course. And if I'm not mistaken, is module 5. When we actually learn these steps, we talk about what Caio said before, and we talk a little bit about how to identify your interexistential identity.
Yes,
Can I just
and
add
here,
one more thing after? When Helen talks about mega strong trait, Diana Rossa wrote a book just about that mega strong trait, and it's about to come out in English. Fortunately, many more people will be able to read it. It's a great book. I've been involved. I'm very excited about it. But
Congratulations!
Please. Yes, and here
she
at
translated
Apex,
herself, so this is also very good.
Please do that, Liliana.
She translated herself, so that's also so nice.
Yes, into this course that Helen told before, we have a expression, or we can use like a tool that we call existential program intersection. What is this? What is this intersection? If we reflect about 2 circles, and in one of these, we can talk about the consensual characteristics. And in another circle, we can talk about the evolutionary needs, that we can introduce some ego and group or polykarmic needs. Sorry. When we get connected these 2 information, the consensual characteristics and the evolutionary needs, when we use the consensual characteristics to attend some evolutionary needs, we get this intersection. So we put together these 2 things, and in this part of the circle, when we connect these both circle, we will understand the existential program content. I don't know if it's possible to understand, but reflect about the first circle, about the consensual characteristics. When we talk about this, we can use another expression that we use here in Apex, that we call like a TME. TME is like, let me try to put here into the chat. Let's see, how can I do this? But it's a phrase that we use the T, the I, the M, the I, the E. TME. What is this phrase? TME is the contraction between 5 words. T, the first T, is connected to the talents. The talents is the strong traits, the ability of the people. So this is a characteristic of a person. The second letter is the input, the existential input, something that we're receiving during our life. As I said before, a father that makes us a big difference, a book, a friend, a book that gave us a friend that gave us a book, and this book, when we are reading, this impact our life and did some reflection that change our life. So
sometimes it can be even the extra-physical input from the health.
Oh, yes, for sure. A projection like that, it could be an input to us. The third word is the M, the motivation. What is this? Our interests. What we would like to know. We will sleep late at night, and another day, really in the morning, really early, we wake up and we are motivated to do something. Why we have this motivation? why we receive this input, why we have this talent, is to do something. So we can talk about these three things. And another one, the ideas, the innate ideas, some ideas that we tell since we are young, and we say, when I achieve my adultity, I can say like this.
Your adulthood, when you become an
Adulthood.
adult.
Yes, when I become adult, I will do this because I think this is really interesting. Nobody told us, but we want to do this. So, but connect these words, your talents, what do you receive, the motivation, and the innate ideas. When we connect to these four words and choose the priority, is the last word, the priority, the evolutionary priorities, we understand our, basically, we understand our consensual characteristics, why we have this. And the other circle, when we talk about the evolutionary needs, what we need to do to evolve our ego karma, to develop some traits. Why we have this trait? Why we have this motivation? What we need to do? What is our necessary? Our needs, I can say. So we reflect about this first part, but we can reflect about the group of karmic needs. Why we born in this specifically family? Which reconciliation I would like to do in this family? Why I have to do this reconciliation? What project that we are involved in, and that has a group of people into of this. This is it, it could be a group of karmic needs. And when we achieve another level, we can achieve the polykarmic needs. So it's when we create I can say a masterpiece. I can say the
You
masterpiece.
can.
You can.
Your masterpiece of your life.
Yes, like
Yes,
the
like
most
that.
important book that you can
Yeah, your
write.
Megagescon, as we call it,
Yeah,
the
yes,
consensual
yes, you're right.
gestation, the big one, the main
Yes,
one. Yeah.
and something that you can do to a expansion of conscientiology could be a polykarmic need. So when we put these characteristics to attend some needs, we are doing our proexis. If we stop this today that we are talking and understand a little more about this connection, this interaction, you will be on another level, as I said since the beginning. Because we will understand our characteristics and understand why we have this, and we will understand why we born to help with what. So this is a good connection to answer your question, Adina. I don't know if it's clear, but I'm trying to explain like this.
Yes, it is very clear. Thank you. And because you were talking before, a little bit before earlier about books, I have just and about books that change lives. I have just remembered that I have a book that has changed my life, and this is the book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
And
one.
yeah, it was the first conscientiology book that I have ever read is Existential program, and it changed my life, literally changed my life. And yes, we also have here on the chat we have some questions from our friends that participate on YouTube. But before this, here we are.
Oh,
Anna Seno, our friend
yeah.
Anna Seno. Okay, so okay, and oops,
Monica.
yes, and Nara, yeah, and the question that comes from Mona, our friend from Romania. What do you consider to be the highest level in the intermissive courses? Maybe the Maxi Proexis can be more than this, maybe beyond the Earth system?
A good question. I think if to begin our reflection, the answer is into this question, because if we reflect about a maxi proex, when we understand that our proex, when we are reflecting about our proexes, and if we can understand that our proex will be connected to the other to other proexes to do a big job, to do a maxi proexis, for me it will be a higher level of intermissive course. But it's difficult to answer because each intermissive course and each person have to do something specifically. And as Helen said on the beginning, we have something that are our situation, are our, how can I say, our condition to achieve the completism, and we can talk about completism after. But I don't know what Ellen has to do. Ellen don't know what I have to do, and we don't know specifically what has to do each person that are here. But if we solve a big problem that are coming from the last three lives into our group of karma, it will do impact in our situation, in our evolutionary situation, that will increase and that will accelerate, I can say, our evolutionary situation. So it's impossible to I can't answer completely this question because of this, because it's so specifically and so a condition to understand about our intensive course, and what our need to do is so specifically that it's difficult to answer. But
Yeah.
if you wanted to open the information and explain a little more, feel free.
I agree with you, and I would say that for each person, um, the more you can, the most polykarmic you can be on your assistance. I understand that as being the most advanced, but it's in before I used to think like this. Okay, so first I have to work on myself, and then I will help my family, and then I will start helping the world. And it's not like that. It's all together. While you're working yourself, you're already experimenting and helping. And of course, it starts at home because it's the most difficult. Those are the people that will push your buttons the more. So you get irritated for some time, you will get sad, they will say offensive things. But while you were working on yourself, you will start experimenting with them, and there are techniques that we can actually start in order to be more polykarmic. One of them is penta. When you're practicing penta, you are there available for the extra physical, and you don't actually meddle, you don't try to run the show. You are there and you trust your helper, and the helper will decide and bring the consciousnesses to be helped and do everything. And while you're doing that, one thing is helping the other. So while you were working on yourself, you're helping your group, like volunteers at work, family, and you're predisposing yourself to the most advanced technique and assistance. You and that then it comes back to you and it helps you as well. It's like Penta for me is a thermometer. You know, if my Penta stagnates a little and stops, and then I start, oh, something's going on. What happened? I didn't feel much. I didn't see much. I don't know. Maybe I need to see something that I'm doing that's not working well. Maybe it's I'm not taking care of my body or my energies, not working my energy. And on the other hand, when I am actually do in on point with my self research and doing my self confrontations, my penta goes and works better. And that helps also when I am giving classes, or if I'm writing an article, or if I am in a group research and debating with other people, you know. So it's all together. So, and also we cannot forget, I don't think we are going to get more much into it because it's a more advanced topic, but we cannot forget about reurbax, the extra-physical reurbanization, which is our most important goal in order to evolve and help the planet.
Can I just add something? So there is one thing that we cannot forget, that we all have a personal proexis, an ego proexis that we need to do. Because if we don't do, then we are going to be deficitary in our group karmic assistance, and we cannot evolve into polykarmic assistance. So the ego thing is about recycling certain traits that are still immature. If we do this, at the same time, as Helen was saying, you start receiving more contribution from the helpers, and you can develop a lot faster other aspects of your bigger maxi proexis as well. So all things need to be worked with, right? Cannot just jump stages or something, right?
And we have another question. Okay, so coming from Mario Luna, and I think that is a question that we all ask at least once. Why do intermissivists struggle so much to get their praxis?
I intend to say because we generally run away from our challenges, from the people that we needed to help. And as Professor Valdo would say, I don't know if this expression is correct, we lack shame on our faces. It's okay.
Yeah, we are shameless.
We are shameless.
Shameless many times.
Yes, we are shameless many times because if we know, sometimes we don't know specifically what are our proexis, but we know what we need to do. We know, we don't know the completely the image, but we know that there is some trees there is some a field, there is a river, and we needed to cross the river, and we needed to look to the trees. But sometimes we stop and start to look to appear to until don't have a projection, until we don't receive a helper information, we stop and don't walk and don't cross the river and don't look to the tree. So if we start to do things that we know that we need to do, some information about our proexis will appear. But if we stayed into our chair, stopped thinking and trying to receive a big information, it will be difficult to receive some information from Proexis. But don't believe in me. Has your
Well, it's
own
just, yeah, if you
experience.
stay just sitting pretty and doing nothing and hoping to be enlightened, like in the past we were enlightened, right? But now it's not
Yeah.
that time. That time has passed. We have to be proactive.
Um,
Yes. Go ahead, Em.
Mario, I'm gonna make an analogy here, and I'm gonna ask you a question. Okay, so if you decide to travel by car, the whole country, you decide to go from south to north by car. What do you have to do? You have to have a map or a GPS. Otherwise, you don't know where you're gonna go. You have to decide where you're gonna stop to eat, to sleep. You have to decide. You have to take care of the car. You have to recalibrate the tires. You have to know where you're going to gas up the car because you need gas. So the same is with our proexes. Sometimes and let's be realistic. I know some people may not like what I'm going to say, but sometimes we are lazy.
Yeah,
Sometimes we think we
yeah.
are already doing what we are supposed to do. But no, when you think,
Comfort
when you get
zone.
to that, yeah, when you get to that point, oh, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. That's exactly when you need to think, reflect, and say, okay, no, this is, let's see if I'm missing something. And that's why we need to do and guys, I'm not doing advertisement here, but we are here talking about existential programs, so I'm going to talk about another course, existential balance. That is inevitable. We have to do, and even if you don't go to the course, you can come to our institution and ask. You have to do your existential balance periodically, regularly. You have to stop. It's a pit stop and reflect and see, okay, what am I doing right now? Is it going the right direction? Is it not? Am I organized? Am I taking care of all the areas in my life? What am I supposed to do here? And another thing that's very important, and for you guys that are in Foz do Iguaçu, I envy you a little bit because of that. Go to the dynamics, energetic dynamics, talk to the epic tones and see, talk to the group, go and see. Sometimes the experience of another person may give you an idea about yourself, and you may be like, oh, I didn't think about that. Wow, I need to pay attention to that. So those things are very important.
Yeah, indeed. Okay. But still, here is another question from Anna Getelina. How can we identify that we are on the right path about our projection, our praxis?
That's a little bit of what I just said is included there. But there's also that inner feeling. You know, when I deviated from my proactive years ago, and I was actually doing a lot of things that I know for a fact that I didn't plan to do, and then I experienced the existential emptiness. I had depression, and it took a toll on my health, my mental health. And once I decided to resume my evolutionary test, so I'm a past. That's why Adina introduced me as a past listener. Once I came back, and then I started little by little coming back to everything that I had planned before I was born. And of course, I didn't know at first what I was supposed to do. But even the fact that of coming back and being around the evolutionary group, the evolutionary friends, that made a difference, and it changes. You have that inner certainty that, oh, I'm on the right path now. I am.
related
Yes,
to.
I agree. I agree with you, Ellen, and I would like to add, if we sometimes if we stop and do a balance
Yes.
and use this balance as a reference, we will understand if we are on a positive or on a negative balance. So this is an information to us. We are doing something, and if we never stop to reflect, we will never receive the information from us or from the universe if we are on a correct way of if we need to stop and reflect on another way. So uh, another thing, we are reaching lots of people or we are reaching only a few people. This is a good information to reflect if we are on a good way, on a correct way, or if we are on a wrong way. So these two information could add with your reflection that you did before to everyone. Am I on a positive balance or not? Am I reaching lots of people or not? This could give you a real reflection and a real information if you are on a wrong or on a right way. Only to add with your information.
Can I just add something? I think that we all have an internal kind of evolutionary compass, and whatever it is that we decide to do has repercussions. So the repercussions that happen to us tell us about if we are in the proexis or not. As Helen was saying, you can do lots of good things, lots of this, but there'll come a time that the repercussions to you are negative. If they are negative, something is wrong. Also, like for instance, if you are in a comfortable zone and nothing is happening, as Dr. Vieira used to say, something is wrong. If everything is very comfortable and easy, something is wrong.
Yes.
To
Yes.
synthesize a little bit, so there is the technique of the existential balance that we mentioned here. So you have to have the pit stop, reflect, and evaluate, make a very comprehensive assessment of your life, of your actions, everything, of your relationships, everything. And also, there is another technique that's very good, especially if you have a very busy life. It's the 5 hour self reflection technique. You separate one day where you know there are no interruptions. You let everybody know that for 5 hours you will not be available. And you have that intention, that objective. You can bring up like a decision you need to make, or even if it's more general, like I need to know more about my proexis. You just reflect about that for 5 hours. That's a technique that Dr. Waldo Vieira brought as well. There is even a verbatim, but it's not translated. That makes me think. I'm going to make a notation here. I think I'm going to try to translate at least a little bit of that verbatim.
You can do some translations. Come on.
Yeah.
That's
But it's about that. If you have any more questions about this technique or about the existential balance, please feel free to look for us, and we will be very happy to speak with anyone here that has more questions and doubts about it.
Indeed, existential balance is a huge course. I did it 3 times, and I'm sure that I will do it again into the future. And each time is different. I don't know how, but each time is different.
We have to
Related
remember.
to the previous
Oh,
question, what are the elements that hinder or block the praxis, that make us be out of the path, out of the out of our Proexis path?
I can start. Would you like to start, Helen?
I can. Yeah, I'm an expert.
We want to hear from the experts.
I made all the mistakes you can think of.
Thank you for sharing some. Don't need to
Yeah,
be
well,
all.
It's funny.
in terms of concepts, okay, theoretical concepts in proexology, we talk a lot about the external pitfalls. So life can bring certain things in your way, and if you're naive, you can get eluded and just make the wrong turn. There is also inner attitude. You know, if you're not in tune with yourself, like we were saying here before, if you don't have your own realistic self image and you're doing your self research, your self confrontation, you may make decisions that you will regret in the future. So, for instance, and then now this, please don't believe in what I'm saying, but make sure you don't try to experience what I'm talking about, because I did and it didn't work. But, like, for instance, self victimization. If something goes wrong and you blame others, or if you keep blaming even yourself, it doesn't work. It will hinder your proaxis. Trying to be too judgmental with other people. It can be volunteer work in conscientiology. It can be with your family. It can be at work. Um, these things are like it's just a way for you to waste time and don't take you anywhere. You know, the thing is, when we talk a lot in conscientiology about the mental soma, the our mental body or our intellectual body. And the fact is, when you bring your experiences to either registering or recording things, recording your thoughts, recording, journaling, those things help because you connect with that mental body. So if you're experiencing emotional pitfalls, or if life brings, like, sometimes even death in the family, that might be a pitfall. That might deviate some people if they don't have that inner strength. They don't know what their strong traits are. They might not be able to come back from that. So I don't know. You want to compliment?
Yes, I agree with you, and I would like to say on another perspective that sometimes hinder or block the fulfillment of Brex, in my opinion, when we can't understand and when we can't balance our areas of life, because sometimes
Yeah.
we have here in Apex another information that I wrote a book connected with this that is practically finalizing the translation into the English.
Yeah. Hopefully not.
That
Yeah,
it's
the
almost
revision
there.
phase is next.
Yes, in the on the revision
I need to balance
phase.
that area.
Yes. So this book is that we have here in Portuguese, and we call the Existential Self-Management Guidelines. And in this book, I me and other 8 authors, we wrote about this contest, the existential self-management, and there is information about this balance into the areas of life, and we divided the life into areas. And why we did that? Because if we balance all the areas, it's impossible for sure, it's impossible to hinder or to block the fulfillment, because we are looking for the principal areas that we need to deal, that we need to plan. So when we start to reflect about I'm gonna tell you some examples. The intraconscientiology, the things that are related to you, specifically to your condition. When we have time to reflect about the the profession, the finance, the interaction between others. When we stop to reflect about the assistance, how are your assistance time? When how uh, what you are doing with your time, and if you are using a part of your time to do things to others, to help others. When we look to these areas and understand that if you balance and not spend many times only into one specific area, you will uh, you will be equilibrated, I can say. You will
Balanced.
be
Balanced.
balanced. Yes, you will be balanced. So we have time to reflect, we have time to do things, we have time to work, we have time to take care of our finance, we have time to do many things. So your praxis will flow. But if you are not doing this and only working, and don't pay attention to your health, don't pay attention to your family, sometimes it will call you to help, and you will need to stop everything and take care about this. So this is another way to reflect about this, the existential self-management.
Yes.
Do this,
Yeah.
reflect about this, because it helps us to do many things in our life. I don't
Yes,
know if
it
you agree with this.
yes, 100%. It's easier for you to understand how life works if you divide it like this. It's a wonderful technique. And sometimes what I noticed when I started, and when the first time I saw this technique was it at the existential balance course. And what I noticed there is that I was doing too much in certain areas as a defense mechanism, and I was
Yes.
neglecting other areas. And those were the areas where I actually needed to develop some skills in order to be more successful in my proexis. So this is wonderful what you just brought. Yes, totally, Sam.
Yes.
Helen, you included in your mini bio um, element being a task resumer.
Oh yeah.
It is obvious that is something important for your evolution in your actual life, in your current life. But what does it mean? What does resuming task mean? And can it be considered a second chance to complete the praxis?
Well, yes, and yes, it can be, I guess. But the important thing is that um, resuming the task, in order for you to even consider resuming the task, you need to accept, you need to understand that you deviated in a certain level at some point. And I am a classic example of deviation of the proexis. But we have a research group that's studying this topic. And sometimes a person may be getting away from certain points of the proexis without even deviating from it. So that's why this type of research is so important, not only for the intermissivists that have experienced what I have, but maybe someone is doing everything that they think is okay with their proexis, and they may have that inner feeling, that inner compass that Liana mentioned. Like, I'm not feeling totally fulfilled. Something is missing. And that's why it's important for us to understand what deviation from the proexis means. Because we are, and this is a feeling that we have in our research group that most intermissivists think about task resuming or deviation about the person who left the group, did something totally different, and then came back. And that's not the case. Task resuming may be someone that was doing Penta, practicing Penta, and had to stop, and then they came back. I know people that stopped 3 times, and that's task resuming. But they were still teachers, they were giving classes, they were volunteering, they were writing articles or verbiage, but they had to stop one task. Other people maybe they have that objective of writing something and they stop. Like, for instance, proofreading a translation. That's perfect. And that's very common among task resumers. Starting a task and not being able to sustain it, to maintain it, and having to stop for some reason and then coming back. So these are aspects that are very important for the self knowledge and for the person to be able to sustain the proexis in the long term. So anytime if you are a teacher in conscienciology and then you decide, oh, I want to go after my doctorate, my grad degree, and does it mean that I have to stop all my tasks? It shouldn't be that hard, maybe. And that's what Caio was saying. If you understand, if you separate the areas of your life and you try to balance, maybe I'm doing too much of this, I can take out this from this area and here, and then you try to balance and not give up on a lot of things that you're doing just to focus on one thing. That may be a solution, but that's what. And the task resumer is that person that stopped either one task or is not giving him or herself totally fully to those tasks, and comes back and he restarts doing.
Very interesting. Thank you. And well, because the time is running, I will go a little bit back to the questions in the on the YouTube. A question from Cecilia, is our friend and volunteer. If I mastered these skills in a previous life, by resuming them, can they lead to self-imitation instead of performing new tasks of existential program? And I think that is a little, it was the first part before this. Does the resumption of some skills we are born with repeat a previous existential program? If I mastered these skills in a previous life, by resuming them, can they lead to the fulfillment in this life?
I'm gonna understand the question, and I was reflecting about this because sometimes we receive some abilities and we how she said dominate. I can use this when I
when you master some skill, or is that what you mean?
Yes, if I master these skills, sometimes it's only things that we understood about our trait. And if we have this trait, as we said before, is to do something. If we are using this to assist to take advantage on your proexis, you are on a wrong way. If you are using this only to spend money and not connect with this to our proexis, it could be, how can I say, there is an expression like, I don't know this expression in English, when we are...
Say it in Portuguese.
Quando estamos repetindo...
Self-mimicry.
Yes, self-mimicry. When we are doing this, if we are using our ability only to do things to us, only to do things to take advantage of us, it could be a self-mimic. If we are using this to connect to our proexis, to help others, and to do many things to a big part of our existential program, or to others that are connected with us, I won't say that it's a mimetic thing. I don't know if you can add.
I think maybe we can maybe kind of do this in two ways. Like, there is positive self-mimicry and there is negative self-mimicry. First, some of the things that we do and that we are repeat because there are skills that we've developed or traits that we developed. This is positive self-mimicry. It's okay as long as Caio was saying, we are using it not to take advantage of others, but to assist others. The process of evolution is about assisting others. And by doing that, I am assisting myself too. It's not like, let me assist myself and others, I will live for next life or for later when I have a bit of time. That would be negative self-mimicry, right? There's always new tasks as well, because we are in our process of evolution. There's always times that there's always facets, aspects of ourselves, traits of ourselves that we are working in to become better, that we were discussing before, the strong traits, the weak traits, and the absent traits, those strong traits that we still don't have but need.
I was going to talk about that. Yeah.
Helen,
there are two things. One is what Liliana just said, and it's one of the principles of Proexis. When you're amplifying your successes from previous lives or from this life, you amplify. It's one of the principles. So you take advantage of all the strong traits you have and apply, reapply. But in some circumstances, our weak traits may be hindering us from using those strong traits. And that's where the absent traits come. Like in my case, I have a wonderful communicability. Everybody says, I'm not saying. Everybody says. I can communicate. I have a good humor and stuff. But one of my absent traits is self-organization. And that's what I've been working on right now, because of my lack of organization, I'm now trying to transfer this communicability to written communicability, and because of the lack of organization, I can't find the time to write.
Many of us have that problem, and we are working on that.
Yeah. So you see, they all go together. So now I'm like, okay,
Let's
organize so I can communicate better, even more by writing.
More polykarmic, in a more polykarmic way, right?
Yeah.
And we always say that every trait can be positive or negative. It always depends on the use we give to the trait.
The intention.
The use. I am a political, I can say.
Political animal.
I am a political animal. I can use this
to
the good things on the wrong way or on the right way. So the use is that we can reflect. So Cecilia, think about your traits. What you are doing with this trait. So reflect about the use that you are giving to this. If you are using on a correct way, take advantage of this and do this and apply this in your Proexis and achieve many people and help many people. If you have a trait that you are using only to you, okay, it's okay to use because it's a trait, but reflect if you could use this to the others too. So this is a reflection to you.
Now, Cecilia, just to remind you, our proexis is based on our strong trait.
Yes.
So everything that you've developed, you can apply. But then there's what Caio said. It depends on your intention. So
We also have hello from Flavia from Portugal. We hug you
Hello, Flavia.
hi,
also.
Flavia.
And yes, we cannot
We only have
finish
10 more
with.
minutes.
Yes, I know. A last
Only
question, a very small question.
We're
About
joy
completism.
talking.
About completism, of course. Can one accomplish their praxis only in some aspects, like 30%, 60%, or not? Or we have to 100%
That is
complete our
completism.
praxis? Yes, that is completism. Yeah.
It's a short question, but the answer is not so short.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. Yeah.
Because to start the answer of this, we need to reflect about the fundamental clause. Sometimes we reflect about this, and that we call there is an entry called clausula petria, or the translation
Fundamental clause. Yeah.
fundamental clause,
Which is not so easy sometimes to understand and to identify as well.
Yes, it's not so easy. It's not so easy. No, it's not easy to identify. And Valdo in this entry that he written, it says each intermissivist consim, each intermissivist
Each one of
consim,
us, yeah.
yes, each one of us has the essential clause and secondary permanent clauses.
And the
So
second.
this gives us an information, because we need to observe the primary, the essential, and the second. But the essential, it's important to reflect what we need to do, what we need to achieve. So if it's important to reflect about the secondary that he said, the secondary permanent clause, that they connect to egokarmic, to groupokarmic, and to polykarmic, and reflect about these things that we said before on the beginning. I can't remember the question specifically, but we said about this. But when we reflect about the essential, what we need to do. When someone asks us, would you like to help us with this thing? We always need to reflect if this is connected with something that we need to do. That if we look around us, there is someone that could be this, or I am the person that should do that. Because when we reflect about the completism, we need to reflect about the fundamental clause. What I came to do. What is my proexis? As Helen said before about when we are running and trying to achieve a specific place, and we start with our car, Loshi, that are a volunteer here in Apex and one of the most expert in Proexis that give many things and give many information about this. He said always about this: when we are driving, sometimes we get a frog. I can say a frog.
Fog.
Yes,
Neblina. Fog.
yes, neblina. And sometimes we get a fog in front of us, And we have some options. We can stop and wait till this fog disappear, or we can take care and continue walking. Because when we continue walking, after the fog, we will know something. We will achieve something. We will arrive in a specific place. So the proexis and the situation to the completism is when we know a piece of our proexis, only a piece, try to do this, because this could be the fog. I don't know the complete image, but when we keep walking and cross this fog, we will find another piece and another piece, and this will connect, and the image will be clear, totally clear, and we will understand a little more. So it's impossible to say about the completism without this reflection, and it's impossible to achieve, and there is no way to do a 30% or 60% if we can do our fundamental clause. We can do many things, but our fundamental clause we can do. We have here, and even Losh told and give us on an article that I can't remember specifically the name, but I think the article is something related to the fundamentals of proexometry, something like that, and he gives a scale. I can say like a proexiological assessment scale, and he divided this on a completism that is 100% on or more, or we can achieve the incompletism that are less than this. And he divided something like pericomplexes, hypocomplexes, hyperincomplexes. So we can understand about this, but to achieve the complexes, we need to understand a little more about our fundamental clause. Sorry about my long answer, but
Thank you.
I think
Thank you very much.
a course just on fundamental clause.
It's great. I still have a lot of questions, but I'm afraid we don't have time. But we cannot finish without asking you to tell us a little bit about the conscientiocentric institution you are volunteering, Apex. So,
Helen, please do that.
Oh, okay. I'll talk about Apex and then you talk about CFX. Is that okay?
Okay. Okay.
Because I didn't do CFX yet, so.
Okay.
But
No problem.
for you guys that don't know Apex, we are a nonprofit institution. That means that we volunteer there. So we teach, we do research, and we work at the institution with no. We don't get paid for that. It's conscientiocentric, which means that the institution, like many others in conscientiology, is based on the consciential paradigm. And it's open since February 20th, the 20th, 2007, and free of any mystical, religious, or party political connotation. And so, as I said before, consciential paradigm based research and education about the existential purpose as well as personal and group evolution.
And we do have a service that we call CAPEX, is the existential support service, that it's like you are reading here, a personalized service to assist in the solution, the planning, and the decision concerning issues directly or indirectly related to the existential program, personal, destiny, and life in general. And we address some topics such as identification of personal proexis, career changes, marital decisions, it's so common, group of karmic arrangements, financial resolutions, it's so common too, the penta prediction or not. This is the time, and parapsychic development among others. It's for free. It could be online. You can access the Proexis www, not www. How can I say the Proexology
proexiology.org.
and assess this, and you can arrange a time to be to use this service. I think is this, Adina.
Thank you very much for participation. Thank you very much for clarification. I hope to continue talking about this huge, important topic in the future. And thank you also to all those who participate in our life, and hope to see you soon all. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you to you.
Thank you
Thanks
for
a lot.
having us.
It was really
Bye.
great. So great. Hope to have you in another opportunity. Not so long from now. Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye bye.